Rachel Reeves is caught in the eye of a political storm after her controversial trip to Beijing, which has been labelled by critics as a humiliating misstep on the world stage. The Shadow Chancellor returned to the UK, trumpeting a £600 million investment deal over 5 years, but the announcement has done little to win over detractors. Instead, the backlash has been ferocious, with accusations that Reeves has made Britain the laughingstock of the Western world. Her decision to leave the country during a domestic financial crisis has added fuel to the fire, with Tory MPs, business leaders, and even some Labour insiders questioning her judgment. The modest size of the investment deal has been slammed as puny, and Reeves now faces mounting pressure from all sides to explain why she prioritised a trip to China over tackling Britain's economic woes at home. But before we break down the full fallout, here's a clip of Camilla Tominey grilling Rachel Reeves on whether her trip to Beijing is grounds for resignation.
I think there are serious questions around the judgments that Rachel Reeves is making.
Are you calling for her to resign?
Look, those are matters for the Prime Minister, not matters.
Well, are you calling for? You can call for her resignation. Labour ministers, Labour shadow ministers used to call for heads to roll all the time.
Well, OK, they may or may not have done. That's a matter for the Prime Minister. But I do question the judgments. I've answered that question by saying that is a matter for the Prime Minister.
Yes or no? Should Rachel Reeves resign?
That is my answer to the question, Camilla.
Well, it's not an answer to my question. It's an answer to a question you've posed yourself.
I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to speculate on the future of the Chancellor.
Why shouldn't she resign?
The judgment that is a matter for the Prime Minister. The judgments that she is making.
You can have an opinion on it.
Are clearly, yes, I do, and I'm telling you what my opinion is, and that is that her
I'm not
judgment
clear on it. I'm sorry.
Fundamentally flawed.
Apart from your opinion being it's down to the Prime Minister, what do you think? Is this woman competent? Rachel, from accounts, she's being branded. She's over-exaggerated her qualifications on her CV.
Camilla Tominey pressing Reeves about the inadequacy of the deal and asking why she left the UK during a financial crisis. As you just saw, Reeves struggled to defend her position under Tominey's relentless questioning, and that's just the beginning of the criticism. The trip, hailed by Reeves as a significant milestone in British-Chinese relations, has been widely panned as a symbolic gesture with little practical benefit. Sir Ian Duncan Smith pulled no punches in his assessment of the trip, stating, "We are the laughing stock of the Western world. Europe and America are standing firm against China, and yet here we are, celebrating crumbs." The timing of Reeves's absence has only intensified the outrage. As the UK economy teeters on the brink of a financial crisis, mortgage rates have skyrocketed, the pound has hit a 9-month low, and borrowing costs are at their highest since the 2008 financial crisis. Reeves's decision to leave the country during such a precarious moment has been called a dereliction of duty by many, including Shadow Chancellor Mel Stride, who declared, "This isn't just bad optics, it's bad economics. Reeves should have been here, fixing the mess she created." City insiders have echoed these sentiments. One advisor described the £600 million deal as a whiff of desperation, while another added, "I'm amazed they thought this was a result worth celebrating. It's embarrassing." Reeves's press conference in Beijing didn't help matters. Meant to showcase her achievements, it ended abruptly when Chinese officials shut it down before reporters could ask questions about the UK's domestic market situation. The sudden conclusion only deepened the perception that Reeves prioritised photo ops over substance. The controversy escalated further when Reeves made a stop at Brompton Bicycle's Beijing shop during her trip, a move widely criticised as tone-deaf. Brompton's UK operations have been battered by Reeves's own policies, including her tax-hiking budget, which the company says will cost them £550,000 in the coming year. Will Butler-Adams, Brompton's CEO, didn't hold back, saying, "From a business perspective, her policies are costing us dearly. A visit to our Beijing shop doesn't change that." The international implications of Reeves's trip are equally concerning. While the United States and the European Union adopt tougher stances on China, Britain's move to pursue closer ties risks alienating key allies. Critics argue that Reeves's eagerness to secure even a modest deal with China undermines the UK's credibility and creates the impression of a country desperate for economic scraps. Adding to the embarrassment, Reeves's trip has drawn comparisons to one of Labour's most infamous economic blunders, Gordon Brown's sale of Britain's gold reserves in the early 2000s. Brown's decision, which raised just over £2 billion at the time, has been widely criticised as a catastrophic mistake, particularly now that the gold would be worth nearly £28 billion. Conservatives have wasted no time linking this historical error to Reeves's underwhelming deal, framing Labour as chronically inept at managing the economy. Nigel Farage summed up the sentiment with his usual bluntness, stating, "Labour governments always end up squandering taxpayers' money. Reeves's trip to China is just the latest example." The public mood has been equally unforgiving. Social media platforms have exploded with memes mocking Reeves's trip, and hashtags like Muksha Reeves resign and China blunder have trended for days. Critics have seized on every detail, from the modest size of the deal to Reeves's absence during a domestic crisis, to paint a picture of a shadow chancellor who is out of touch and out of her depth. Despite the backlash, Reeves does have some defenders. Supporters argue that post-Brexit Britain must engage with China to secure economic growth, even if the initial agreements are modest. They point out that £600 million, while small, could pave the way for larger deals in the future. But even her allies acknowledge that the trip has been a public relations disaster. Within Labour, rumblings of dissatisfaction are growing. Some MPs reportedly fear that Reeves's handling of the situation has handed the Conservatives a potent narrative ahead of the next general election. With the economy already a critical battleground, Labour's ability to present itself as a credible alternative to the Tories has been severely undermined by this fiasco. The coming days will be pivotal for Reeves. She's expected to address Parliament, where she'll face a grilling not only from opposition MPs, but also from members of her own party. The stakes are high. For Reeves, this is no longer just about salvaging her reputation, it's about safeguarding Labour's credibility on the economy. The fallout from the Beijing trip is far from over. With Britain's economy in a precarious state and public confidence in Reeves waning, the scandal has the potential to reshape the political landscape. Whether Reeves can weather the storm, or if this marks the beginning of the end for her political career, remains to be seen. What do you think? Should Rachel Reeves resign over her handling of this trip and the market crisis, or is the criticism being blown out of proportion? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe and stay tuned for more updates. This story is far from over and will bring you every scandalous twist and turn as it unfolds. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to share with your friends. Subscribe to not miss our latest news.